What's going on, guys? Proof here, and today I'm coming with you with episode 3 of Cold Hard Proof. This time I'm featuring Dudley Jessica, which is the last of the big 3 spike decks that are coming out of the technical booster. And as you're going to see throughout the course of this episode is that she's not as bursty in burst potential in terms of raw output in comparison to Rising Miracle and Bloody End. But as you're going to see, she makes up for that in other capacities. And so, as always, I'm going to go through the deck real quick, or my interpretation of the deck, show you the scenario for their big push at the end, and then I'm going to show you the breakdown of it, and then another side-by-side comparison between all 3 decks. So, for Dudley Jessica, there's kind of 2 ways you can go about building it. The way I'm showing is the non-jelly beans version. There is a way you can build it with jelly beans that I've seen be very successful from one of the guys in our locals. He's also on Pojo under the name of Kazunoha. I'm sure I butchered that, but I think it's Kazunoha. And the way he built it with jelly beans, that he took out some of the grade 2 support, and in terms of running 4 jelly beans to help ensure you get a Dudley whenever you need it. But my take on the deck, it was more the non-jelly beans version. I'm going to go over that real quick. So with the strides, we got 4 Geronimo, which is what you're going to need for Dudley Jessica and her full combo at the end. Or at least you want to have 4 of them to have the ability to go into it. 2 Bad End, just in case you feel the need. You want to chain the break ride together before going into Jessica. 1 Picaro for any kind of late game needs against things like Kagero. And then 1 Bruce for on-hit pressure. For the grade 3s, we have 4 Bad End, 2 Dob, 2 Dobe. I wish it was Dob, no Dobe, but I digress. I run 2 here just in case you need to pitch 1 for stride, or if you have no other means to be able to go about it. And then you also have 1 in your hand / deck for all your other skills. And then 3 Jessica, she's run at 3 instead of 4 because you have ways to get her out through the use of Good End Dragger that I don't feel the need for 4. So 3 is what I feel. You can definitely run 4. I just feel the need. I don't feel the need for it. For the grade 2s, we got 4 Misery for your combo plays on your stride turns. 4 Dudley Mason, which is great. He's one of your grade 2 rides here. He helps ensure you get Death Flag Dragger if you want to go the Bad End route. He also just provides a lot of on-hit pressure because nobody likes the idea of you getting a free card on the field in exchange for a card, like the break-even that it provides. And then 3 10K Vanilla. I prefer Treasured Black Panther. You may want to play Dudley Monty Moses. I think this is Moses. Yeah, Dudley Monty. I prefer Panther, but this provides you a more tanky option in terms of helping you survive through the mid-game. It helps against those grade 2 rush decks that might be around your local area. I like it. It's definitely a good option. If you don't want to go with the 10K Vanilla route, you can always replace it with High Speed Bracky or Chemist whenever we get Chemist out. You may want to put 1 in here for Chemist once he's released in April. Yes, I'm glad we get that dude. As for the grade 1s, I have 4 Alma. There's no need to play Million here because it's not a charge-based deck, so you definitely want to go for the on-flip option. Unflip option, not on-flip option. 3 Verity, Stride Enabler. 2 Elza for Limit Break Enabling. If you go for the Good End turn, definitely want to have 2 of these in here. 1 Death Flag. I could run 2, but I went 1 just because Secure and Bad End isn't as necessary in here as it is in Bloody End Dragger, because you always have the optional route of going with Jessica. So 1 in here, just in case it comes up, you have the option. And then 3 Reckless, because he's part of the combo that you'll see in a little bit. And as for the zeros, we got Mecha Trainer, of course, and you got 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. You can go 12 crit here. If you go 12 crit, I recommend replacing something in your grade 1s for Machine Gun Gloria, just for that Counter Blast draw card. And then open up the space for you in the front row as well. But that's the deck overview real quick, and then I'm going to pause it and come back with the scenario. Be right back. Alright, I'm back with the scenario. And this scenario isn't as counterblast heavy as the other combos that I showed you guys. For this one, even though I put 4 here just as per usual, you're only going to need 2 counterblasts to be able to pull off the full combo. And so, assuming we don't have a field in place, this is what we're going to need at minimum to be able to pull off the combo. And of course, we're going to be having Strode, Geronimo already to be able to clear out your field, or to be able to enable Dudley Jessica's tanky side, which is her GB2. But for the combo, what you're going to do is that you're going to pitch for stride, and then go into your 3rd Geronimo. And with Dudley Jessica's on stride skill, when she strides a Dudley, you're going to search your deck out for another Dudley. And in this case, I'm going to grab, here it is, I'm going to find another Dudley Jessica and put out right here. And then this one gets plus 5,000. And then I'm going to call out a misery column here, reckless, doesn't matter if you put it here or here, I'll put it there. No, I'll put it here, because I like the idea of Dope attacking for a lot from behind the Vanguard. That seems fun to me. And so from here, you can either go Dope first or Vanguard first, depending on if you feel the need for triggers. But when I go through these scenarios, I'm thinking about the idea that you're not going to get triggers. I know I didn't mention that along the way. That definitely slipped my mind. I apologize for that. But we'll go with the first. We're going to activate Geronimo here, flip, and then everything that's going to attack this turn is going to get plus 5,000, and then hop back to the deck afterwards. So from here, we'll go with Dope first. We'll attack with Dope. I wish. And then he goes back to the deck. And then from here, we're going to attack with Vanguard. And then we're going to ignore any triggers that may pop up. I'll give it here. Alright. And then from here, we're going to attack with Misery for 21. And then using her skill, we're going to put a card into the soul, search out Dobe again, and call him back out to the empty slot. And then she hops back to the deck. And then Dobe here, he's going to get plus 15, attack for 26. And then we can attack here. And then Dobe hops back to the deck. Jessica gets another 5,000, so she's now 21 from here. And then she hops back. And then for your last attack, you're going to attack with Reckless here for 17. And hopefully your opponent didn't have anything left to survive all of that. So not quite as intricate as and exciting as the last 2 combos, but it makes up for it in its ability to tank attacks earlier, thanks to Panther if you play it, or with Dudley Jessica's GB2 skill. So now I'm going to hop into the charts, and then we can go over those real quick. Alright, we got the charts set up. And like the scenarios before, like I said, 4 counterblasts open. Even though we only needed 2, I definitely wanted to provide comparability between all 3 of them. And in this scenario, you can get off 6 attacks. Even though, like, I changed the order up in the previous example, you're going to get off of 6 attacks here for the total amount of 105,000 in shield, which is 10 or 11 cards from your opponent's hand if they have to guard everything at 5 damage as always. I do want to point out that there is the opportunity here to get more than 6 attacks if you have Dudley Mason out and he hits. Even though the option is there, it's not quite as excuse me, it's not quite as consistent because you don't want to rely on that to enable extra attacks, but the option is there. You can also throw in the likes of Hive Maker for Counterblast 1 after it bounces back to the deck, call something out from your hand. That can give you more attacks if you choose to go that route. You can replace a Dobe for Hive Maker and search it out through Misery. That's definitely an option because it attacks for 21 before it hops back to the deck. So it's kind of like a Skydiver in that sense. You can definitely go that route as well. But the opportunity is there. And if you add a 7th attack here, it's going to buff this up to about 120 to 125,000 in shield, depending on what you call out. And then if you call out Hive Maker, you can get an 8th attack. No, because if you call out, it'll still be 7. It won't be 8. My apologies there, but it does buff it up, so you have flexibility here. On average, you're going to get about 105,000 in shield. Excuse me. And so with that, I'm going to go to the triple side-by-side comparison, and then we're going to wrap up this episode here by talking a little bit about what's coming up in the future. I'll be right back. All right. If you've gone on this whole Spike journey with me, this will look familiar to you. If not, definitely check out the previous 2 episodes, and then you'll definitely get a more feel about what I'm about to talk about here. But as you can see, this is the triple side-by-side comparison between all 3 decks here. And since we're talking about Dudley Jessica, we'll start with Dudley Jessica. And like I said before, you're going to get about 6 attacks off for averaging 105,000 in shield. Variants in there for if you choose to play other options or call out other options, depending on what's presented to you when you're playing against your particular opponent. As for cards needed, it's going to cost you about 6 cards, and assuming your field's empty, you're going to need about 6 cards to be able to pull off the full combo, because you need 1 unit to pitch for Stride, 1 card to pitch to Misery, your Reckless, your insert 11k unit here. In our case, it was Dope. 7k unit for boosting, ideally for Misery, and then of course you're gonna need your Misery as well. Now, when I went through this, I realized that I left out 2 cards here, which will be for the Rise and Nova combo, which would be, assuming your field's empty, you're gonna need Misery and a booster for Misery as well. So this will buff it up to about 10 cards that you need, but I apologize for that. I definitely missed that along the way. However, the only hidden cost here really for Dudley Jessica is that all your Dudleys are gone. So by somehow stretch the imagination, if all your Dudleys are gone, you're gonna miss on her skill. Thinking about that, it might be better to play Dudley Monty instead of Panther, even though I prefer Panther. But definitely, if you want to ensure, if you play a 10k vanilla, you definitely want to go the route of playing Dudley Monty over playing Panther in this particular deck. So I'm definitely sure I caught a couple comments right there. So if you play Dudley Monty, you're going to have 10 Dudleys in your deck, which would be hard to miss out on all of them when you go into Dudley Jessica for the GB3 2 face-up G-Zone cards for Dudley Geronimo. But in comparison, as you can see, the combo potential isn't nearly as vast as it is for Rise Nova and Bloody End. But like I said before, you make up for it in your ability to tank through the mid game with your cross-ride defenses of Dudley Jessica, assuming you go into Jessica first. And you also have your 10k vanilla, your Panther, your Monty, depending on what you want to play. You have that there to be able to survive the grade 2 turn better. So once you go into your grade 3 ride, you're going to be at lower damage, and you preserve your hand that way. So in terms of all the decks, Dudley Jessica and Bloody End have a little bit more mid-game capabilities over Rise and Nova, because Rise and Nova is going to have all G restricted grade 2s and grade 1s, or G grade 2s. So your ability to have stuff that happens during the mid portion of the game before you stride isn't present in Rise and Nova, in my version of Rise and Nova. And with Bloody End, you have your Dudley Masons for your pulling out your death flags, just like you have in Dudley Jessica. And then Dudley Jessica adds on top of that with your 10k vanilla as well. So those are the big 3 decks that Spike Brothers have to offer. You can intermix them a little bit here and there. I've seen builds that incorporate Rise and Nova and Dudley Jessica that have had success. I've seen decks that combine Rise and Nova with Good End Dragger and Bad End Dragger having some success. I like the pure G Rise and Nova version. I don't want to incorporate Bad End because you have to take out some pieces to incorporate Bad End. You have to take out like Moonmaker or an Acrobat to make space for Good End Dragger, or I'm sorry, Death Flag Dragger. You have to take out some of your grade 2s to make space for Bloody Ogle. Not Bloody Oak, goodness, to make space for Dudley Mason. And so it kind of gets a little, spreading yourself a little too thin. And so I like the pure G version when I'm going with Rising Nova. And so going into the future, I'm going to release a deck profile on my Rising Nova deck, full, try to make it as in-depth as possible. I'm going to do that with my camera, with my actual deck. And then for the next Cold Hard Proof, I'm either going to go into Tachikaze, make my venture into the world of dinosaurs, Jurassic World, where at you, where you at? Or I'm going to take a look at the Neo Nectar Big Primavera combo that was going around about a week or two ago. Put that in the chart form so I can see it with the numbers, and then I can present that to you guys with the numbers as well. So let me know what you think. If you have a preference, if you want to see Tachikaze or if you want to see the Big Primavera combo, I can take a look at either one of those. For Tachi, I was reaching out to my boy Crazy Cat on Pojo. Actually, I know him in real life from back in my old stomping ground, North Carolina, and definitely reached out to him for some help, and he gave me some good insight. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys prefer. If you don't want to see Tachikaze or Neo Nectar, let me know if you have a certain preference in mind for the next episode. After I do the deck profile, I'm going to step away from spikes for a bit in terms of what I present on screen here, because I'm sure everybody doesn't play spikes, and I don't want to flood the channel with Spike Brothers stuff, even though I love them to death. But that'll do it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this 3-part series on Spike Brothers. Definitely give you a look, insight into what I like to use. And until next time, guys, later. Peace, be easy.